also we're going to learn about command blocks and structure blocks and how far creative Minecraft goes. So I'm going to start a new world here. In this world, it's like a regular survival world, and it's just going to be dedicated to creating this game. Okay, good. Pretty typical spawn. It makes sense to do this kind of stuff on open ground without a bunch of trees in the way, because I'll just have to end up moving them. But I kind of don't want to do it in the plains. It doesn't really matter. We can clear out anything that we need to. I think we're going to nestle it over here in this saddle. I believe that's called a saddle, but I'm not that sure. Okay. So if we're making Minecraft into a game, we can't just have people doing like normal survival Minecraft. We have to like limit them in some way. So we have to make sure that like the boundaries of the game are set. That's kind of abstract, but first thing we're going to do is build a lobby so that when players spawn in, they have a place to be and they don't like get out of where they're supposed to be. A lobby, you count players at the lobby and you can divide them from there and keep them from messing anything up, because there's all kinds of ways that they can mess things up. So this is a basic bedrock lobby. I might actually go more in detail into this later, but for now I'm trying to get everything up and running like functionally in a very minimal form, and then we'll flesh out the details from there. So this is like the old bedrock lobby that everyone has used for stuff like this ever since Minecraft came out. So these are the two blocks we're using. It's the structure block and the command block. So in both cases, you have to use commands to get these blocks. You don't find them in the world, you can't craft them, or you can't even get them in the creative inventory or anything. So you have to use the give command. So this is the command block, and I took it over to the bedrock platform. So remember, this is where players spawn in. So I want players to spawn in at this location instead of whatever the world spawn is generated naturally by Minecraft. So when I die, I want to now come back here. So the command for that is set world spawn and then coordinate. So you need 3 sets of coordinates, X, Y, and Z. If you just tab complete, it'll fill in with, I don't know what does it do. It just fills in with the coordinates that you're at. So that tilde sign means like relative coordinates. So that means the coordinate that this command block is. So if you just put set world spawn tilde, that would set the world spawn right here. I just happened to see that this is at 81, Y81. So I bumped it up one. So instead of spawning in the block, you spawn on top of it. So set world spawn at 1 block above this command block is what this does. Okay, so that pressing the button on it actually ran the command. You have to actually power the command block to run the command that you've written. So that did the command, and then I did that command to myself, and now we can see that I spawned not exactly where I expected. I expected to be up here, but it was down there, and that is because the default spawn, like world spawn in Minecraft, is over a range of blocks, not at just one exact block, which is what we set it to, 1 exact block, but it's putting you anywhere within a radius of that. So I'm using this other command block to change that. So that's a game rule spawn radius, and then if you just set it to 1, it'll place you exactly on that same block every single time. Or maybe it's within if the radius is 1, I guess it would be in like a 2x2 area. I'm not sure exactly. It doesn't matter exactly because this platform is big enough to capture them. So now we're going to use structure blocks to save this structure, this little spawn platform that I built. So really, ultimately, what we want to do here is create structures that we can load into other survival worlds. Like one of the main ideas of this game is that it takes place in a randomly generated survival world, so it's different every time. So I want to be able to use these structure blocks to, you have to move some files around in your .minecraft folder, and then you can create a new world, load a structure like this one that has command blocks, and then use those command blocks to run the game. So you can like have structures that pop up in any new survival world that you generate. And then you can use the structures and the commands together to create a game, and we'll get there. So these are the structure blocks. I'm placing them at the outside corners of the box, basically, that I want to save, and then I'm naming them. And then this is the main structure block. The bottom left button there changes like the mode. The other two are on corner mode because they're just to act as corners for the structure that I'm saving. And then this is save mode. So if I type in the name like I did there, spawn, which is what I named those other blocks, important that I spell it the same in all of them. Yeah, so I'm going back in, and then save on the left is like the mode, but the right hand bottom button is save. There is what will save it. Save this structure to the game. Then include entities as if there's like a pig or something inside it and you want there to be a pig every time. You can do that. It doesn't matter for this one because there are no entities that I want to save. So now it's saved, and we'll test it out kind of a ways away so it's not in the way later. Plus it's fun to just fly around new worlds. Alright, so we place that like basic structure block down, type in the name of the structure that was already saved, because we're on the load mode now. Get our settings. This can change the angle. I've never messed with that before though. It seems complicated. And then hit load, and then that's the box. That's the same size as the other box, and then you have to actually use redstone to power the block one more time. There we go. That is our spawn platform, copied and pasted from one area to another. So now we can move the files of this world to another newly generated world, and then drop that structure block in with that name, and then move. We could even move that structure to an entirely different world. So now I'm going to get started on my commands. I want to have a nice space to work with here. So I've shown you what a command block does, can do, I guess, a couple examples, and it's basically just executing like a line of code. But then if you chain them together, you can execute lines of code like that are dependent on one another and activate only when other ones activate, and so on. And then that's basically how the game is going to run. But we're starting from nothing here. So here's our canvas. It's nighttime. There's monsters in a way. That's kind of annoying. But there's a way to deal with that. There's a command that you can run called game rule, do daylight cycle. And then if you change that to false, the sun will not go round and the time will stay like frozen in place in either nighttime or daytime. So we're going to actually probably going to deal with that a lot. We're going to need to test things in daytime and in nighttime. So I'm going to actually set up a control over here. Instead of just running these commands right now to change it, which is what I would normally do, I'm going to anticipate that this is something that I'm going to have to do a lot. And so I'm going to put all these commands into command blocks, and then we can just come over and press a button later and it'll do it. I don't know if this is a big efficiency boost, but it's just kind of fun for me to make my... If you're making these games in a world like this, it becomes like fun to inhabit that world as well. So like this mountain is going to have the day-night time controller on it. Because I don't think this game is going to be done this week or this month or even this year. I'm probably going to be using this world a lot, or at least for a long time. So it'll be nice to have stuff like this in it, just so it's not like a big Just so it's not like a messy desk, it's like an organized desk. It's easier to work on an organized desk. But mine will be messy, trust me. This is just like one move towards organization. So each of those command blocks has the command to, this case, time set day, which will set it to day. It didn't work because it says it set it right back to night, which is because that button powered both of these blocks. I needed to just do one. I think redstone block will work. Yep, there we go. So that one doesn't activate the other ones. There's day. So it's midnight. It's time set midnight. That's the command. And then this is running the game light cycle and stopping it. So right now that moon is moving and all the stars are moving with it downwards towards the horizon when it will become day. And then when I hit pause, it stops. So currently we are at pause night. So we're just going to change it back to day and keep it paused. And we'll keep those blocks on there just to remind ourselves what we're doing. So now it'll be day, so there'll be no more monsters and it's easier to see. First thing to start with here, probably not the best first thing to start with, but it's just a way to show what the command blocks can do. I don't really know what I'm going to make first, but like whatever the game is, when you want it to start, you probably want certain like conditions to be true. And this is a chain. The blue ones there, the chain command blocks, act off of another command block, this orange impulse one. So the first thing we'll do is do the game mode command to set everyone's game mode to, they'll probably be playing survival, but adventure might be more useful for having them in the lobby and everything. So we'll try that. I might end up changing it. So game mode, adventure, and then at A is at all. So that means it'll apply that command to everyone. Then whenever we activate that one, we have this next one, which will also activate, which is, a lot of these are new. I don't know all of these do. But for this game, we are going to do natural regeneration. We're going to make that false. So that changes it so that when you take damage in game, you can't just gain it back with hunger. You can't just eat food to gain your health back like normal Minecraft. So this kind of raises the stakes a little bit. In order to heal, you actually need like higher level items. And I don't know if we're going to use this for everything, but I do think I want to use this as like a cornerstone setting, I guess, for this game. So there we go. It set the game mode to adventure mode and set, oh. Okay, there's our first bug. Because I set everyone to adventure mode, that included me, which means the creeper saw me and blew up. There we go, back to creative mode, fixed up. But that command ran both of those command blocks. 1, 2. The impulse command block, the orange one, activated. And then because the chain command block was attached to it, that one activated as well. And we'll even do a third one, just to demonstrate how this works. So if it's conditional, it needs the one behind it to fire in order for it to fire. Fire is not the right word. So we're only getting 2. So that third command block is not, what's the word? Activating, running. And it turns out that conditional, when a command block is conditional on another command block to run, it's not just that that one has to run, but it has to actually change whatever it's changing. So an effect has to take place because of that. So since, what does that one say? Since the game rule natural regeneration was already false, because I already ran that command, the second time I tried to run it, it ran, but it didn't do anything. So because it didn't actually do anything, then the conditional for the next one did not fire, because it was conditional on that one. So I just made those unconditional in their settings over here. I thought it might need quotes. It took me a minute to figure out what the problem was here. And there we go. End of episode. Actually, though, so just like with the time thing, I'm anticipating that I'm going to be setting myself to creative mode back a lot, especially if I stick with this as the first command, because in that case it's going to run every single time I try to test this whole thing. So it might be handy to have this button over here that sets me back to creative mode so I don't have to type it out every single time. Not that it's that hard to type out.